All right, good evening everyone. In this lecture we are going to see dynamics of circular motion. Okay, I have stopped at this part. I have spoken about kinematics of circular motion. Now in today's class, what is that we are going to see is dynamics of circular motion. All right, so now in dynamics of circular motion, first allow me to talk about uniform circular motion. Okay, in the previous class I have spoken about non-uniform circular motion. So in this lecture, first allow me to talk about uniform circular motion, then using that we'll continue ahead. So your first heading is uniform circular motion. Now in the previous lecture I have told you that in uniform circular motion speed will be constant. That means if speed is constant, your tangential acceleration is equal to 0. Okay, so here I have told you in general your resultant acceleration will be this way. Okay, in general, okay, non-uniform circular motion. Okay, non-uniform circular motion, I have told you that your centripetal acceleration will be this way, your tangential acceleration will be this way. Your tangential acceleration is responsible for speed change. Okay, it is responsible for speed change, that means number change, and this part is responsible for direction change. And if A tangential is equal to 0, okay, A tangential is equal to 0, that means your speed remains constant. Okay, speed remains constant. All right, so and your acceleration that you have here, it will be directed towards center. Okay, so AC, okay, centripetal acceleration will be directed towards center. Centripetal acceleration will be directed towards center this way. Okay, hope you have understood what I have explained. Okay, if A tangential is 0, speed will remain constant, and your A resultant component, it will become in the direction of AC. So final conclusion is in uniform circular motion. Okay, UCM refers to uniform circular motion. Everywhere your resultant acceleration is towards center. Because A tangential is equal to 0, your A resultant is equal to A centripetal, which is equal to V square by R or R omega square. Okay, so because this component is 0, okay, automatically what will happen? Your A resultant square is actually A centripetal square plus A tangential square. This part is 0 for uniform circular motion. So resultant acceleration will be equal to centripetal acceleration. So here in uniform circular motion, everywhere the acceleration will be directed towards center like this. Okay, hope you have understood everything in detail and there are no doubts. Okay, so if tangential acceleration is 0, speed will remain constant. If centripetal acceleration, whatever centripetal acceleration is there, that will be directed towards center. Because if this component is 0, your A resultant is this way. If this becomes 0, A resultant and AC will align with each other. Okay, so this is what I have explained in the previous lecture. So in uniform circular motion, this is what happens. Okay, right? Now let me do the dynamics part. Now unless otherwise mentioned, okay, always consider uniform circular motion. Okay, if nothing is mentioned in the question, okay, related to variable speed or any such kind of stuff, or tangential acceleration is not given, consider uniform circular motion. Okay, so I'll write that point. Note, before I start itself, I am telling you very clearly, okay, if nothing is mentioned, please consider, okay, please consider uniform circular motion. If nothing is mentioned, please consider uniform circular motion. Okay, so if nothing is mentioned in the sense, somewhere in the question speed is constant is given, obviously uniform circular motion, but any information related to non-uniform circular motion is not given, so by default consider uniform circular motion. Okay, right. Next, another important point is, please don't get confused, with centripetal and centrifugal. What is this difference? I will tell you, but keep this in mind. Centripetal and centrifugal, okay, centripetal and centrifugal forces and accelerations. Okay, please do not get confused with this part. Okay, do not get confused at all with this part. Okay, right? And nothing is mentioned, I have told you, uniform circular motion, right? So now, in whatever cases you take, okay, in the dynamics of circular motion, another important point is, always try to resolve your forces in radial direction and perpendicular to radius. Okay, radial direction you will write net force towards center is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration, you will write it, and perpendicular to radius. Okay, so this either will be tangential direction or perpendicular to the plane. I will talk about this, but in dynamics of circular motion, before I start, you just remember these points. Okay, if I am not talking of kind of motion, or in the question if anywhere sufficient information is not given, please do consider uniform circular motion. Point number one. Second point is, okay, please don't get confused with centripetal and centrifugal force. Both are different. People will try to mix everything. So don't do that. What is the difference? I will explain in detail clearly. And another point is, always try to resolve forces in radial direction. That means whatever forces are there, you take components in the radial direction and perpendicular to the radius. Okay, perpendicular to radius and radial direction. In radial direction, you will write net force is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration. Perpendicular direction, usually net force will be 0. Okay, but in some cases it need not be 0, but usually, okay, net force in perpendicular direction will be 0. Okay, so I will talk about this, don't worry. Okay, please do not get terrified with this stuff. Just remember these points, each and everything I will explain. Okay, now I will erase it. Hope you have copied down. If not, pause the video clip, remember these points. Okay, any question that I take in circular motion, okay, often students will feel this to be tough, but trust me, it is not tough at all. You have to understand this, that's all. Okay, if you understand this, it's not going to be tough. Okay, so from Newton's laws of motion chapter and friction chapter, obviously after doing that much stuff, you will obviously get to know how to mark free body diagram, forces, everything. So it will not be a tough job at all. So now let us do this. So now your first case is case 1. Okay, case 1. Okay, right, an example of horizontal circular motion. Okay. Now, in first case, okay, what is the situation? I will tell you. You have a string, there is a block of mass m, in your hand you are holding it and whirling it like this. Okay, you are attaching some stone probably to some thread and you are holding the thread, one end of the thread in your hand, and you are not holding it this way. Okay, you are holding it like this. Okay, you are holding it and trying to rotate it like this. Okay, I don't know what you call this in English. I mean, in circus terms they will call this to be something, I forgot. I don't remember exactly what's the name. But my point is, you have a stone indirectly. Now this is gravity free space. Why it is gravity free space, I will explain, don't worry. But right now it is gravity free space. Why gravity free space means, okay, if gravitational force is there, what will happen is, because of gravitational force, this thread will come downwards. Obviously, instead of whirling like this, okay, your thread, it will, because of gravitational force, it will come down. So it will start whirling like this in the vertical plane like this. So it is different. Okay, please do not get confused with this stuff. Okay, you have gravity free space. So if gravity is there, it becomes conical pendulum. This situation is different. I will talk the maths part of it even as well. So now in this gravity free space, okay, first I want you to understand, you are trying to set up an equation here. Let us say it is rotating with angular velocity omega. Let us say it is rotating with angular velocity omega. Now in rotational dynamics you must have studied, if you have a rod like this and if you have hinged it at this point and you are rotating like this with some angular velocity omega, if you take different points A, B, C, D like this, different points will have same angular velocity but different linear velocity. Okay, all these points will have different linear velocity but same angular velocity. So you can express this answer in terms of omega or in terms of V, that is of your choice. Now, before in solving any question, decide the reference frame first, especially for Newton's laws of motion chapter, friction chapter, circular motion chapter and work power energy as well. In lot of places, obviously we need to understand reference frame. Reference frame is an important aspect. So now from ground reference frame, if you are trying to do okay, from ground reference frame, that means you are standing on this ground and observing the block of mass m. Now what is mass m is doing means, your m is rotating. What is your observation? Your observation is m is rotating in a circle. M is rotating in a circle with angular velocity omega. With angular velocity omega. Okay, your m is rotating in horizontal circle with angular velocity omega, right? So now if this mass is rotating in a circle, okay, I have told you for uniform circular motion to for a body to execute uniform circular motion, if it will execute uniform circular motion if and only if your acceleration is directed towards center. Okay, in uniform circular motion, resultant acceleration and centripetal acceleration both are same. So everywhere your acceleration will be directed towards center. Now for this acceleration to act towards center, Okay, there must be some force. Okay, for this acceleration to act towards center, there must be some force. Okay, so it is rotating in a circle with angular velocity omega and centripetal acceleration is L omega square, because we know that V is what? R omega square. Centripetal acceleration is R omega square. Yesterday's class I have explained in detail. So your centripetal acceleration is L into omega square. Now this centripetal acceleration from ground frame, what is that we are seeing? Your body is going in circle. Now for this body to go in circle, obviously there must be some force. Okay, which force will cause this centripetal acceleration means, okay, your centripetal acceleration is caused by centripetal force. That centripetal force is tension here. Okay, so here tension will cause that centripetal acceleration. That tension is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration, that is equal to m times L omega square. Now from ground frame, what is your observation means, okay, your acceleration L omega square is directed towards, this part is directed towards center. This acceleration is directed towards center. Your acceleration is directed towards center. Okay, all right, hope you are understanding my point. Just hold on. Hello. Here please do not get confused with the fact that, okay, there is some centrifugal force. No, there is some whirling force. No. Okay, remember one thing very clearly, centripetal force is a general name. Okay, like living beings, there will be animals, humans, insects, birds, like that. On planet Earth there are a lot of living beings. Like in a similar way, for a body going in uniform circular motion, centripetal force is a word, general word, that is given to force that acts towards center. That's all. Okay, don't think too much. But that centripetal force, in one situation it will be tension, like in this case. In some other situation it will be normal reaction. In some other situation it will be friction. In some other situation it is combination of tension, normal reaction, it can be something, but it can be combination of forces as well. But don't think that centripetal force is a new kind of force. No, you basically have only four basic forces. First one is gravitational force, second one is electromagnetic force, third one is strong force, fourth one is weak force. In electromagnetic force you have tension, friction, normal reaction. Okay, but those are real forces only. So centripetal force is not a new kind of force. Okay, for a body, okay, going in some situation, here because of thread is exerting some force towards center. So thread will cause tension. Tension is the centripetal force. Okay, right? That force acting towards center, we are giving a general name as centripetal force. But don't think centripetal force is a new force. Depending upon the situation, it can be normal reaction, it can be friction, it can be something, it can be combination of multiple forces. Here it is tension. Okay, right? Don't think that there is some whirling force acting towards center. Tension is in pulling direction. So in this case, your tension will act this way. This tension only will cause centripetal acceleration. Okay, here I have told you, from ground frame if you are observing, on this block there will be acceleration directed towards center. Which force will cause that centripetal acceleration means tension. Okay, now from ground frame your acceleration is centripetal acceleration. Okay, from ground frame there is centripetal acceleration. Okay, very clearly I will write, from ground frame centripetal acceleration. Okay, and this is directed towards center. From ground frame, okay, directed towards center. From ground frame it is going in circle. Which one? Block M is going in circle. Okay, right? Hope you have understood this. Now the same thing, okay, the same thing if I talk Okay, same thing if I talk from reference frame of thread. Okay, that means probably, okay, let us say some insect is sitting on this. There is some insect. Okay, there is some insect sitting on the mass, okay, bob of mass m. Now with respect to, okay, I'll write with respect to insect's reference frame, okay. So insect's reference frame is accelerating reference frame, okay, accelerating reference frame. Accelerating reference frame implies we have to keep pseudo force. Pseudo force is, if you have watched my Newton's laws of motion videos, what is pseudo force? Pseudo force is mass of object of study into acceleration of reference frame in reverse direction. So in this case, okay, in this case, what is your observation means? Your observation is with respect to insect, your mass m is at rest, okay, with respect to insect, mass m is at rest, okay, with respect to insect, mass m is at rest. So if mass m is at rest, obviously net force on this mass m will be equal to 0. So here if you take this mass m, okay, because of thread there will be tension acting this way, okay, and pseudo force, your reference frame, this bob's acceleration is directed towards center, your pseudo force is mass times centripetal acceleration, which is equal to ml omega square. This is called as your centrifugal force, okay, centrifugal force. Please do not combine both, okay, please do not combine both, okay. So you have centrifugal force. Centrifugal force means force which is acting towards center. So your centrifugal force, what it will become is, your centrifugal force is mass times acceleration of reference frame in reverse direction. Centripetal acceleration, it is towards center. This will come only when you are watching from ground frame. Centrifugal force, you will get it when you are in accelerating reference frame, that means with respect to this insect. Please do not get confused. Centripetal force from ground frame, centripetal force will act towards center, okay. Centrifugal force is a pseudo force. That pseudo force will be present only when you are trying to give equations from accelerating reference frame. So here your equation, what it will become is T minus ml omega square is equal to 0. Your tension T is m times L omega square. Here your net force will be equal to 0. Same equations, ultimately irrespective of the method you will get same answer. But the thing is, with respect to ground frame you see acceleration, so that is why you write, okay, force towards center, centripetal force is tension, you are directly equating tension is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration. Here with respect to insect you will feel that bob is at rest. So if bob is at rest, what will happen? Net force on the bob will be equal to 0. So that is why your T is equal to m times L omega square. Okay, alright. Hope you have understood what is the difference between centripetal force and centrifugal force. Alright, next, second case, copy it down, pause the video clip, copy it down, okay. Right, now your next important thing is I will take the subject little slow in the start, but as I keep moving ahead, I will add more things and some mixed problems in problem solving sessions. I will do little more extra. Next, case 2, conical pendulum. Now, if you remove gravity from previous situation, okay, Now don't worry how questions are going to come. Your questions I have given in the previous case T, M, L, omega everything, but out of that one will be unknown. You are supposed to find out that unknown value. Okay, ultimately in the questions you will just have numbers, you just need to substitute it. That way circular motion is a very easy topic. Whatever you do, you will just simply resolve the forces and write net force towards center is equal to mr omega square or mv square by r. Now this question is, you have a bob hanging like this, but what is that you have done? No fixed support. If you keep fixed support, it becomes a simple pendulum. No. Okay. You have held it with your hand probably, and somehow you are rotating it such that it executes circular motion like this. Okay. So this string length you just take it as L. Mass of this bob you just take it as M. Now let us say this angle or this angle, some angle is given to you, it is up to you. This angle, let us say it is theta. Now what did I tell you? First mark the forces and resolve the forces towards center in radial direction, and just simply write force in radial direction, net force in radial direction is equal to mv square by r. Now on this block of mass m, there will be gravitational force mg. There will be tension T. This angle, okay, only two forces are acting on this, T and mg. Please do not write centripetal force here. One of the T's component. What are the two real forces on this block of mass m means? On this mass m there are only two forces. So from ground frame I will explain. So from ground frame, if you are trying to do the solution, okay, on this block of mass m, what is that I can do is, if this angle is theta, I can replace T with T sin theta here, T cos theta here, gravitational force mg here, okay, and it is going in circle like this. This length is L, this radius is, if you take it as some r, for example, cos theta, if you are taking this radius as r, your cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse r by L. So your r is equal to L cos theta. In the question, if radius is not given, length will be given, angle will be given, some information will be there. Out of this, one of the values will be unknown. Use that unknown value and then do the simplification. So here your net force is 0. So T sin theta minus mg is equal to 0. In which direction? Perpendicular to radius. Perpendicular to radius, your net force will be 0. So in the vertical direction, because while it is going in horizontal circle like this, there will be no up or down. Okay, your particle will not move up or down. So net force is obviously supposed to be 0 in that particular plane. Next, in the radial direction, okay, almost any question in circular motion you give, I will be doing this only. So in the radial direction, what will happen? Your force towards center, T cos theta, is centripetal force that is acting towards center, which is equal to mv square by radius r, okay, small r here. So angular omega something will be given, or you can write it as mr omega square. In place of mv square by r, you can even substitute mr omega square. Now what did you get? From this equation, T sin theta is equal to mg. From this equation, T cos theta is equal to mv square by r. Equation 1, equation 2. So divide this T sin theta and T cos theta. So T sin theta by T cos theta is equal to mg by mv square by r. M will go off, T will go off, tan theta is equal to, okay, what did you get? Rg by v square. Now if this angle is theta, tan theta is equal to Vr by g square, where theta is angle with horizontal. In some books this angle they will take, let us say it is alpha. If you take tan alpha, your theta will be 90 minus alpha. Tan of 90 minus alpha is cot alpha, okay. Tan of alpha is 90 minus theta. So tan of theta is 90 minus alpha, tan of 90 minus alpha is cot alpha. Cot alpha is gr by v square. If you do the reciprocal, cot alpha is 1 by tan alpha will give you v square by rg. In books you will see this expression. Tan alpha is equal to v square by rg. Tan of 90 minus theta is cot theta. Cot theta is 1 by tan theta. Okay. So this expression you will see it in the books. Now what is there? Nothing new. Two equations perpendicular to radius along the radius. Net force, balancing. That's all. If you do that, that is more than enough. Alright. Now let's move ahead. Next, you have done your conical pendulum case. Your next case is third case, case 3. Let us say you have a cylinder like this. This cylinder is rotating with angular velocity omega, radius is r. There is a block of mass m here. Okay. Next, our next situation is you have a block in a vertical rotating cylinder like this, and in this or for this situation you are supposed to write or set up the equation. Out of this mass, coefficient of friction, some values will be given. Now first of all, this block will have contact, okay, this block will have contact with the surface. Why? Because in this case, if you take your normal reaction will act this way, gravitational force mg will be acting this way. Now if you assume the cylinder to be smooth, okay, if you are assuming that the cylinder is smooth, then what will happen is this block cannot actually rotate in this, because the resultant of n and mg, if you are taking, it will be at an inclined angle to this part. Okay, so for you to have the constant force thing, okay, for you to have constant force thing, what will happen is for you to have with constant angular velocity, for it to rotate, you must have friction here, and this friction will definitely be static friction. Okay, here you must have static friction, so that your static friction will balance the gravitational force. Okay, so now as I have told you, if you are writing from ground frame your equations, from ground frame, what is your observation is, if you are standing here from ground frame, if you are observing the body, okay, what is your observation is block rotates, your observation will be block rotates in circle with acceleration, centripetal acceleration as AC is equal to r times omega square. Okay, your observation is your block rotates in circle with centripetal acceleration is equal to r omega square. That is your observation. Okay, right? Now if you take this block of mass m, okay, which force will cause your centripetal acceleration? What is it you are supposed to write? Your net force towards center should be equal to mass times centripetal acceleration. So towards center, which force will be there means normal reaction will cause this centripetal acceleration. So your equation is n is equal to m times centripetal acceleration is r omega square. That is what we are supposed to substitute it here. Okay. Next, if you are trying to do the same, trying to do it with respect to reference frame of block. Okay. So let me do that. So with respect to block, okay, with respect to block, on this block of mass m, okay, on this block of mass m, there will be centrifugal force. As I have told you, centrifugal force is a pseudo force. You should not mix centripetal force with centrifugal force. Both are completely different. So in this case, your centrifugal force is mass times, okay, acceleration of reference frame in reverse direction. So when the body is going in circle like this, your centripetal acceleration is towards center. So if you reverse it, what will this become is m times v square by r. That is your centrifugal acceleration, which is equal to mr omega square, of course. So now if you are standing with respect to block, okay, what is your observation is block will be at rest. Okay, if you stand on the block, block will be at rest and block is accelerating reference frame. So I told you, whenever we are in accelerating reference frame, to make the Newton's laws of motion valid, we will keep pseudo force. So with respect to this block is at rest, what are the forces on this block means two forces. One is normal reaction and other is centrifugal force. So n minus mv square by r or mr omega square is equal to 0. Once again, your n is equal to mr omega square. Okay, it doesn't matter from whichever reference frame you are trying to do the solution, but still you will get the correct answers. Okay, right? Hope you have understood what I have tried to explain here and there are no doubts. Alright, so now this is your reference frame. Now I have talked about directions of equations and directions. As I have told you, in circular motion always you are supposed to do in the radial direction and perpendicular to radial direction. So in the radial direction you write net force is equal to mv square by r. Perpendicular to that, mostly net force is 0. So in the perpendicular direction, if at all if you are trying to write the equation, which equation you are supposed to write means frictional force minus mg is equal to 0, friction is equal to mg. Okay, provided if the cylinder is exactly vertical like this. Alright, right? Now let's continue further. Okay, in the problems nothing new will come, same information, but they will give you mass value, radius value, angular velocity value. Out of this one equation one unknown will be there and rest is just simply substituting this equation. If you are able to substitute the equation properly, you will be able to give the answers. Okay, so please do not worry about it at all. Okay, alright, so that way circular motion is a very easy topic. Alright, next, your case 3 is done. Now I will move ahead. Next is case 4. Alright, now next case, allow me to check, I will miss anything, no, I will do that. Next is your case 4. In this case, let us say you have a rotating rod like this and on this there is a block of mass m at some distance x like this. Okay, and this surface is rough. It is rotating with angular velocity omega. What is your question is, find coefficient of friction is mu. Okay, find omega max such that block does not slip on rotating disc. That is your question. Okay, now you are supposed to try to give the answer for this part. Okay, all right, come on, give it a try. 1 minute time. All right, so now to this question, what is the answer means, once again you have to follow the same logic. Now if you take this disc, for example, if this block is of mass m, if this distance is x, on this block of mass m there will be normal reaction n upwards, gravitational force mg downwards. Now when it is rotating with angular velocity omega, from ground frame, if you are looking at the block is accelerating, right? So if the block is accelerating, it will have centripetal acceleration acting towards center. So how much is the centripetal acceleration here means, your centripetal acceleration is how much means a equal to x omega square. Okay, getting my point? I will tell you an important point here. If you take different points like this on some rigid body, RA, RB, RC, some other point C is here, let us say the distance is RC. Now if this block is or disc is rotating with omega, remember that your omega of A, omega of B, omega of C, it will remain same, but linear velocity VA, VB, VC will be, VA is RA into omega, VB is RB into omega, VC is equal to RC into omega. So here RA, RB, RC, these distances are different. So what is the point that I want you to get is, okay, linear velocity is different. Okay, linear velocity are different for different points. Angular velocities will remain constant. Okay, so angular velocities will remain constant. So whenever you have a body which is rotating with angular velocity omega like this, if you take different points, okay, these different points will have different angular velocities but same angular velocity but different linear velocities. Okay, how means like this. So in this case, for this block of mass m, what is the centripetal acceleration means, you can directly write x into omega square. Okay, so if it is at the edge, some other value. Okay, later you will have questions like there is a groove and in that groove there is some small ball, such kind of questions. I will show it to you, don't worry, we will come to that part later, but for now just this is enough. Now here, okay, so hope you have remembered this point and you have copied it down. Now if you take this block, on this block in the radial direction, okay, any equation as I have discussed, divide it into two parts. Resolve the forces in two directions, one is radial direction and other is perpendicular to the radius. So in the radial direction, okay, on this block of mass m, alright, so your value of, if this mass is m, okay, if this mass is m, only possible force that you can have is friction. Okay, that too if it is not slipping, what kind of friction you can have? You can have your static friction here. Alright, so when the block is rotating like this, okay, right, when it is rotating like this, only possible force on this block which can, only possible force which can act towards center is, only possible force is what? Friction only. Apart from friction, no other force is possible here. So here on the perpendicular direction, you have normal reaction n, you have gravitational force mg. So your n minus perpendicular to, in the perpendicular direction, your equation I will write it directly here, that is n minus mg is equal to 0, because your block will not anyhow fly. So your normal reaction is mg, keep it aside. Why we are doing this I will tell you. Now coming to this radial direction, We know that friction is causing this centripetal acceleration. Your friction is responsible for the centripetal acceleration. So that too static friction. Okay, so if I just simply keep Fs, that is enough. So your Fs is mass times centripetal acceleration, that is equal to mr omega square. Here it is mx omega square, because I have told you your centripetal acceleration how much it is. A centripetal is equal to x into omega square. So that is why it is mx omega square. So your static friction, from friction chapter you must definitely remember that your static friction is less than or equal to limiting static friction. Now how much is the limiting static friction? Mu s into n, that is equal to mg, because here n is equal to mg. So your mx omega square is less than or equal to, because static friction value how much it is, mx omega square, it should be less than limiting static friction, so that this block will not slip. Okay, our block will not have kinetic friction provided when the friction value is less than limiting static friction. So if you take this it cancels off. Your omega value is under root less than or equal to mu s into g by x under root. Okay, if the distance is r, you write under root mu s g by r, but here I have taken it as x. In some questions they will give you r, or they will say a coin is placed instead of block, but logic is same. Now if omega minimum is asked, V minimum if it is asked for the block, V minimum is equal to x omega minimum. Get omega minimum and substitute it. Okay, so nothing new will come, only thing is you are supposed to stick to the basics and then write the equations. Alright, hope you have understood this and there are no doubts at all. Let me continue further. Alright, next, your next case is, I am erasing this. Now in rotational dynamics chapter, for these kind of questions, later conservation of angular momentum idea will be brought into the picture. So if that is done, please do not get tensed at all, stick to the basics. Okay, you can watch my rotational dynamics videos for that part. Alright, next, your next part is, let us say you have a groove like this. Now within this groove there is a block, let us say it is semicircular, and you have released it on the top. Block of mass m. This I don't want to do it now, but still I am being forced to do it. I just want to explain something. So for bodies which are moving over the bridge or these kind of grooves, you should be able to give the answers. So for understanding sake, I need to do it. Now let us say radius of this is r. Okay, let me put the entire question in a single color. Radius of this groove is r. You have released a block from this point. Okay, from which point? From the radius, horizontal. Now what is your question is, while it comes to some position here making some angle theta, if this is some point A, if horizontal is some point B, find velocity at A and find velocity at B is your question. Okay, you will get questions like this. Okay, so don't worry, I am here to help you out. So now when these kind of questions come, okay, remember that, okay, if you are not able to give the answer from direct circular motion, okay, all the time mostly questions will be linked with conservation of energy as well. So your conservation of mechanical energy is one part that I have explained in work power energy chapter. So in conservation of mechanical energy, I have told you very clearly, when no external forces act on the system, or even if they act, they don't do any work, then they don't do any work, we can apply conservation of mechanical energy. We can apply conservation of mechanical energy. So what is conservation of mechanical energy?
your kinetic energy initial plus potential energy initial for a body is equal to kinetic energy final plus potential energy final. Okay, this statement I have given it. Now how this is related to this, I will tell you. Now if I am releasing it, okay, in the equation I have released it from rest. Released means obviously initial velocity is 0. Now if you take this scenario, okay, if you take this scenario, now when the block is coming this way, now on this block, if this is your center, on this block gravitational force will be there like this, it is mg. Normal reaction will be acting this way. Now if this angle is theta, this will be theta because these two are parallel lines, so alternate angles will be equal. So now in this case, okay, should I resolve n or should I resolve mg means your velocity at this point will be this way, it is va this way. Okay, so I am doing the answer for point A. For point A, I am trying to calculate the situation, okay, values. So now at point A, many people what they will do is they will resolve n into n cos theta and n sin theta. But is it actually required? Trust me, it is not required. Why? I will tell you. Because your n is already in the radial direction. Now our target, I told you, in circular motion for almost all the equations, what is that you are supposed to do? You have to resolve your forces in radial direction and tangential direction or perpendicular to the radius. So in this case, what will happen is your block will have two things. Your normal reaction is already in the radial direction. Now your mg is not in the radial direction. So what is it you are going to do? You have to resolve mg into components. If this angle is theta, this will be theta. So your mg cos theta will be this way. Your mg sin theta will be this way. Okay. So this is an example of non-uniform circular motion. Okay, because initially when it is released here, your speed is 0. When it is coming down, your speed is obviously increasing because your potential energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. So this is a classic case of non-uniform circular motion. So in this case, what will happen is you will have your force in the radial direction and tangential direction. Both will be there. Your resultant will be in somewhere in the middle. So now what is the answer to this means? Okay. So in this case, what will you do is in the radial direction, what is it you are supposed to do? Just hold on. Yeah. So in the radial direction, allow me to do this. So in the radial direction, what is it you are supposed to do is your radial direction. Next thing is, should you write mg cos theta minus n or n minus mg cos theta? Which one is correct? You have to write n minus mg cos theta. Okay, n minus mg cos theta. Alright, so if you do that, so that will give you n minus mg cos theta is equal to m times va square by r, because the circle center is this way, your resultant acceleration is towards center. So that is why I have to write n minus mg cos theta. I should not write mg cos theta minus n. I should write n minus mg cos theta. Alright, next. Now from here, okay, you know that in the radial direction this is what is going to happen. Now coming to the tangential part, in the tangential direction, okay, what will happen? Your tangential force is equal to mass times tangential acceleration. Here your centripetal force is equal to mass times centripetal acceleration. Your centripetal force is what? Combination of n and component of mg. I told you. Okay, centripetal force is nothing but a force which we have defined in the situations. Okay, alright. So now allow me to do that. Alright. So now here, So in the tangential direction, this is what is going to happen. So your tangential force is equal to mass times tangential acceleration. So your mg sin theta is equal to mass times tangential acceleration. M will go off. Your g sin theta is equal to a tangential part. Okay. In the equation, out of this much information, some bits will be given. And your next thing is your energy conservation equation. If required, you have to apply. So I will show that to you. So remember this. Pause the video clip. Copy the information down. So here, how you are supposed to apply your energy conservation equation is, your energy conservation, how you will do it is, at the topmost point, your potential energy is, I am assuming it as mgr, because for potential energy, your ground reference level is 0. This point will be at a height of, this distance is r cos theta. So this small distance is r minus r cos theta. So between these 2 points, if I try to apply your energy equation, your mechanical energy conservation, I am doing it here. So your mechanical energy conservation is, at the topmost point, mgr is the potential energy initial. Kinetic energy initial, because it is released, it is 0. That is equal to final potential energy is, it is mg times r minus r cos theta plus your kinetic energy is half m v square. Okay, va square. Now from here you send this r cos theta to the other side. So you will get will cancel off. 2gr plus 2g times r minus r cos theta is equal to va square. So from here your va is, sorry, it is minus 2gr minus, because this term, if it goes to other side, that will become minus. So finally 2gr will cancel off. So you will get va is equal to under root 2gr cos theta. So what is your velocity means? vgr cos theta. Now in the question, if normal reaction is asked, what will you do? For a value of n, take this back and substitute into this equation to get the value of n. Okay, this you can do it. Now for the second bit, Vb, what will you do? Just simply substitute theta equal to 0. If theta is 90, initial position, theta is 0, A comes to B. Substitute whatever result you are getting in this case, you substitute the value to 0, you will get the complete answer. Alright. Next, your next situation is, if you have questions linked to spring, what is to be done, that part also we will see now. So now coming to the springs part, now let us say you have a block of mass m. Alright, the diagram went little bad, out of the way. The question is like this. A spring is there, attached to this there is a block. Now if the surface is smooth and if this velocity is omega, natural length if it is L0, and you are asked a question like find extension of the spring. Initially it was like this. After angular velocity comes as omega, find extension of spring. That is your question. Now how will you do the answer to this question is, when the spring extends by some x, this distance is L0, this distance is x, your restoring force that is acting towards center is kx. So your centripetal force kx is equal to m into r is L0 plus x into omega square. Now from here get the value of x. Omega is known, m is known. You will get a quadratic equation. Solve for x. Okay, and depending upon the value, spring constant value, everything given, you get the value of k. Okay, like this simple basic questions will be there. and you don't need to get worried or tensed at all. Okay, things are pretty easy, so please don't worry at all. All right, next is if you have combination of two threads, for example, how is that? I will tell you. So next is they can give you questions even like this. How it is, let me show you. You have a block of mass m which is attached to a rigid rod. These are your threads. This is a rod. It is rotating like this with this distance, you can assume it as r. Some information they will give you in terms of length. So in this case, how will you do it is, for top thread if tension is T1, for bottom thread if tension is T2, do not worry, they will give you the required information, angles, everything. Let us say this angle is alpha, this angle is beta. Now in this case, once again, same setup. In the radial direction, what are your equations means? They will give you find ratio of T1 and T2, for example. They have given you alpha, beta. They will give you find tension in string A and B. All the information will be given. Don't worry. So if you do that, first thing is your T1, if you resolve into components, this T1 component in the vertical direction is T1 sin alpha. T1 component in the horizontal direction is T1 cos alpha. Alright. Next, for T2 component in the horizontal direction is T2 cos beta. In the vertical direction it is T2 sin beta. Gravitational force mg is already anyhow downwards. So now in this radial direction, what is your centripetal force? T1 cos alpha plus T2 cos beta, that is equal to m into r into omega square. Next, perpendicular to radius, in the perpendicular direction your net force will be 0 because this is not going up or down. So your T1 sin alpha plus must be equal to T2 sin beta plus mg. Here net force is equal to 0 in the perpendicular direction because it is not going up and down. Okay, so this is how you are supposed to do your basic questions. In the next class, what is that we are going to do is, we are going to see our banking of roads in detail. Then after that, I want you to do work power energy chapter, and then come back. You have to come back to vertical circular motion. All right. So without doing first basic dynamics of circular motion, you should not do vertical circular motion. All right. So that is how you are supposed to do it. Okay. So with this, we'll stop this lecture. That's all. Thank you.